Welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Podcast, hosted by CRM technology and sales process expert Christopher Smith, talking with sales leaders that have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Listen to find out how the best of the best achieve success with their team and CRM technology. And remember, unless you are the lead dog, the view never changes.
Welcome to today's episode of Sales Lead Dog. Joining me for today's episode is Joy Wilder Lybeer. Joy, welcome to Sales Lead Dog.
Thank you. This is amazing. Thanks for having me on your show.
Super excited to have you here. Joy is the Chief Revenue Officer for Source Advisors. Joy, tell me a bit about Source Advisors.
Absolutely. So Source is a boutique specialty tax advisory firm. We advise businesses primarily through their CPAs relative to applying for and being accepted to receive incentives and tax credits.
Very complicated topic. I imagine that's why you guys exist.
Well, we enjoy helping taxpayers save money, whether it's through R&D credits, tax cost segregation, energy certifications, those types of things.
Yeah. And that's not something your normal CPA just can do out of the,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's considered a specialty tax category, which is why they need experts like Source Advisors.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Joy, when you look back over your career, and if you could boil it down to three things that have really driven and led to the success you've achieved, what are those three things?
Wow. Okay. I think claiming my leadership DNA early on, perhaps. Don't tell, but my second grade teacher, Mrs. Franks, called me bossy. She actually had my parents come into a meeting to do something about Joy being bossy. Luckily, my mom realized that was leadership, and Mrs. Franks would do well to encourage that in her students, especially her young girls. So really claiming the fact that it's not what I do, it's who I am. I would say that's number one. Number two is embracing the creative aspects about myself. My resume, it looks like a banker, but in my soul, I'm an artist, and I can bring that creativity to the workplace and generate growth and wealth for everyone involved. And maybe three, I would say keeping myself small. It's not really about me, even though I do aspire to be the sales lead dog. I love that name of your podcast. If I am too big to serve, I'm too small to lead.
Yeah.
And so taking that role of enablement with the team has served me very well.
Well said, Joy. I really like how you said that very succinctly, and I really like that and appreciate that, especially the leadership component. That I think it's easy to forget when you make it to the top that you didn't get there on your own. You had a lot of help along the way.
My gosh. And I've worked at multi-billion-dollar companies, and now I work at a small PE-backed firm, and I'm looking around, and who needs to do this? Who needs to do that? It's usually me. And that has really inspired renewed appreciation, I guess, for all of the people in my story who helped to make me and the team successful over time.
Yeah. I had a conversation at a previous episode of a guest with Sales Lead Dog that we were talking about that every leader should go out and participate in a startup or start a business, and you're going to find out real fast you're not doing it alone. All that success you had doesn't mean a whole lot when it's just you.
I
It's
know.
a different world.
I have breathed a word of thanks to people in my story, whether it's Karen or Juan or Dan or Daisha, over time, saying, wow, I knew it was a team sport, but I didn't know how much my success was because of your success.
Yeah. Very, very true. Very true. When you were starting your career, did you envision a path in sales, or did you have a different mindset?
Oh my gosh, no. If you would have talked to me as a senior in college, I was determined that I was going to be a midwife. I took a course called The American Way of Birth. And that was just like going to be my thing. I have a trimmer in my hand. And so I realized pretty quick that I would probably kill someone if I actually went into the medical field. I call my career a little bit of an accidental tale, honestly, because I showed up. I tried to contribute. I wanted to take on more and more responsibility so I could make a bigger impact. But in terms of picking this job or that job, I wasn't that intentional about it. And in fact, I did not start as a career in sales. I moved up through the marketing ranks. I became ultimately the chief strategy officer for the 7th largest bank in the country. And then they called me in one day and said, you need to learn how to run something. Like, okay, there are 200 people downstairs. I think I run something. I was proud of my little C title and my name in the annual report, but I saw that name fly out of the book and I went to probably my North Star job, which was my first sales role as a sales leader running retail banking, first for a region of that organization and then for the whole company. But I learned that leading is really more about following. Getting people to follow me was the name of the game, not my name on some corner office.
Right.
And I learned about really how to drive performance and enroll people and a mission and a vision. So my first sales job was actually the boss. But that was a great start and really the job that I attribute my success to, honestly.
What was one of those lessons or maybe a couple lessons that you learned in that role, sales leadership role, that you didn't expect?
Well, like I mentioned, I really thought leading was stereotypically about leading, giving people a plan, holding them accountable. But it was really more about allowing them to see me and being authentically myself. And that allowed them to want to follow and want to trust. And I remember I was on the stage at Disney Institute addressing the team for the first time. And I looked out at all of these tired faces. I was like, I know something you don't know. I'm a single mom. And I'm trying to make this work here at 12 hours a day and then go home and try to make it work there all by myself. And just that small exposure allowed them to really identify because half the room could have said the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So leadership is, again, really about enrolling others and then making sure they're clear on the mission and the vision and they're part of it, making sure they're capable, making sure they have the toolkit, the competencies that they need to succeed, and making sure they're motivated. Motivated means consequences, positive and negative consequences, right? When things go well, great things should happen. We're also often motivated by when things don't go well, there are negative consequences. I have to show up and talk to Joy about my pipeline on 5:00 on Fridays, right? So those were a couple of my early lessons that serve me to this day.
Did you have any mentorship or mentors in those early days in sales leadership? Or did you have to kind of fall on your face in your own and kind of figure it out the hard way?
Okay, so the person who comes to mind, his name is Scott Wilfong. Scott was this massive guy, literally in every way, in his personality, in his stature. And he was the CEO of the bank when I ran retail banking. And he was incredible. He really taught me that giving way to passion actually sometimes makes the difference between winning and losing. At the bank, we had a sales campaign. There was no money. There was no big prize at the end, no trip. It was really bragging rights. And we wanted it. It was my first year in role, and I had done all the math, all the analysis, all the strategy, right? And there was no way we were going to win the Business Banking Cup that year. So I march into Scott's office and say, I run the numbers, And given the pipeline size, days to close, average deal size, we're just not going to win. And he gets up, and he's like 3 times my size, and comes across the room and says, sometimes the facts do not count. So get out there and give it everything that you've got. And that was his way of saying how important my posture with the team was.
Yeah.
And what, we didn't win the SunTrust Cup that year, but we won it the next and the next. And so don't underestimate the passion that you bring to the team. It can make all the difference.
You have to have a fire in your belly. You just have
For
to.
sure.
People know when you don't.
It's a sort of a performance mindset, right? When I left my large CRO role at a publicly traded company, in between gigs, I did a lot of advising and consulting, which was amazing. I learned so much, learned from so many teams. 2 things were missing. They weren't my team, and it wasn't my number. And you can judge having that number and wanting to be that sales lead dog, right? And driving to the performance target is very satisfying to me. And that serves a person well in a sales leadership role, I think.
Oh, yeah, it really does. It's very internal, I think, what that is, but it boils down to that. It's like you still, when you're the top dog, you're ultimately the one responsible for that number.
And there's a lot of psychic income that comes with that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The business banking cup back in the day, no prizes, no big money. Yeah. It was, we won.
Yeah. Hey, we're taking a quick break to thank you for listening to and supporting the Sales Lead Dog podcast. I want to take a moment and tell you about my book, CRM Shouldn't Suck. If your CRM feels more like a black hole for data than something that actually helps your team sell, you're not alone. The book breaks down why CRMs fail for so many businesses and what you can do about it. No fluff, just real strategies that work. So go to crmshouldn'tsuck.com to order your free copy right now. That's right, we're giving it away. And while you're there, take 2 minutes to check out the CRM Impact Score. It's a quick diagnostic that shows you how your CRM is really performing, where it's helping you and where it's hurting you. You'll get a personalized report with clear, actionable next steps you can start right away to maximize your CRM investment. We've also got blogs, videos, and a bunch of other resources to help you finally get the results you were promised when you bought your CRM. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of Sales Lead Dog. Okay, let's get back to this episode of the Sales Lead Dog podcast. Yeah, it's bragging rights. And it's funny, it's not, I remember when I was getting my graduate degree, and you talk about motivators, one of the classes, and I've done a lot of reading on this stuff too, that it's not always money. People always think, oh, it's money. It's the best motivator. A lot of people just need something to have pride in.
I could not agree more. When I went to my former company initially, I had a little bit of buyer's remorse. And I told my sister, it's like, I don't think I care about what they do, honestly. She's like, learn to care. This is a great job, and you need to stay in Atlanta. And so I found the noble work in it.
Yeah.
And what I do at Source Advisors fits into that noble work category as well. And that's, I'm not pushing widgets, right? We're selling things that are really making a difference for the world, for our country. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. My kids are like, Dad, what do you do? And what I boil it down to them is like, I help companies do better so they can hire more people. They can serve their customers better. Hopefully by serving their customers better, those businesses are doing better. And so I'm trying to create a ripple effect.
Yes.
And have an impact in the world. Because if I say, oh, I implement CRM, they're like, what the heck CRM?
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, they're like, but you stick to that side, you're like, we have no idea what you do, Dad.
I know. My
But
kids
if I
used to
explain it
say
that
I
way,
talk for a living.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it give a little bit more of an emotional impact to it and a real world impact, because that's ultimately it. That's how I view what I do.
Yeah.
Is
It's
I'm helping
awesome.
these companies survive, to compete, to grow. That's really important.
So true.
Yeah, yeah. What's your favorite thing about your role, Joy?
Oh my gosh. That sounds corny, but sorry. Helping people achieve their best. If there is any legacy to be left in this world, that's what I want them to say on my tombstone, right?
Right.
That I helped other people achieve their best. And a lot of times, especially in sales, people have really a mediocre understanding of what their life is or what their best is. I found that this world has a pretty low bar. Right. And so helping people see, no, you can do more. You can stretch higher. You can provide more for your family. You can make more money here. You can achieve your best by doing these set of things or learning these competencies or embracing this style and approach. I love that.
Oh yeah, that's me too. It's team building successful teams. It's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because selling is
Mhm.
not an individual sport; it's a team sport, right? So you have a really great track record of building very high performing teams. What's your secret sauce?
Well, we've talked about a few things. Maybe an additional idea would be, do you like being known as tough? Most people would say, no, I want to be helpful. I want to be this. I want to be tough, tough on the numbers and generous with the people and enable them, again, to achieve their best. So I have a pretty high standard. The number's the number. That's not really negotiable. Everything else is how I help you, how I show up, what you need, how many more people do you need on your team, what company do we need to acquire, what products do we need to add. I'll do anything to help you be successful, but the number is the number, and we're going to get it together.
Yep, that's all it comes down to. And it's so much. I've had so many just wonderful leaders here on the show, and the whole concept of servant leadership, I think, is so powerful and so true, that if you want people to follow you, there's a lot of layers to that. When you talked about making yourself vulnerable right out of the gate, being very vulnerable and connecting with people on a human level. What other elements for you play a role in being a successful leader?
Well, I think the servant leadership, to your point, there's a lot to unpack there. It's an important part of building trust. You're not going to like everything that I do as your CRO. I'm going to change your incentive plan. I'm going to change your goals. I'm going to change the sales support model. And you're used to having your own admin, and now you share. I'm going to change a lot of things. And I have to earn your trust by being authentic, by being transparent, by listening, by making sure you're heard, by apologizing when I make a mistake, when I make the wrong choice. That allows me to, again, enroll others and help us achieve our best. Most people don't like change. That's our human nature. But if we're not moving forward, we're actually moving backward. Some law of
Right.
physics, as I understand it.
Yeah.
So that authenticity, trust building, enrollment is super important. Another thing I would offer is don't hesitate to put the truth in the room. A lot of leaders filter to a fault. And so we do the happy speech and the happy talk, and then we expect people to be happy when in fact we have real problems here. We have real issues to solve. And I may not expose you to all of the hard truths, especially all at once, but putting the truth in the room and then having enough respect for the teammates to solve it together, I've found is really important. Another joyous, I guess, is don't leave the field while your team is on it. never leave the field. We cannot lead well if we're in that corner office, if we're going out for golf, if it's, I want to be there with my sleeves rolled up to my armpits as long as you are on it. And every CRO worth her salt has been on a call at 11:45 p.m. on 12/31 trying to get that last deal.
Yeah.
I'm on that phone call
Yeah.
because my attorney is on, my sales leader is on, my account executive is on the call, my ops guy who's trying to deliver, right? So I'm on the field.
Yeah. Leaders lead from the front.
And from the back, meaning it is a counterintuitive notion. I know what you mean, and I agree, like with the modeling, but it is that upside down thinking sometimes where you can be the servant.
Yeah.
Order the catering. Back in the day, we used to say, make the photocopies, whatever is indicated to help the business succeed.
Yeah. The other reason I think you get to be in the front is because you're willing to do all that other stuff as well. That's the only reason you get to be in the front. You can pretend you're in the front and be in the corner office or leave at 2:00 to go golf. It's just, you're just pretending. There's no
We
substance
call
there.
those the posers.
Yeah, exactly.
The posers.
What's the worst part of your job, your role as a CRO?
Worst part. Well, I'm a CRO addict, I have to confess. So I love this role. It requires influence. It requires pulling all the levers. It requires bringing the organization together, even though they don't report to you. It's about making money for your investors or shareholders and for your teammates and for your customers. So great role. Maybe if there's a negative is that I can't get everything done that I want to get done. There are not enough hours in the day. And I have to make sure that I'm playing smart and I'm caring for myself and my family and as well as my team. And that requires a balance that through the years, I haven't always been that great at. So the worst part about it is having to put it down to be great at it. And sometimes I've been good at that and sometimes I haven't.
Why don't we see more women in the role of CRO?
Why don't we see more women in executive roles, period?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. Our CHRO and our CMO, they're always women, but never our CTO, rarely our COO, rarely our GC, and sometimes our CRO. But I think, regrettably, that is a function of corporate America and those vestiges of glass ceilings and all of those dynamics still raise their ugly heads sometimes.
Yeah. What should we be doing if you're a sales leader listening to this, what are some of the things that they should be considering thinking about today to begin cultivating more female, not only salespeople, but sales leaders?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say do not be deaf to the fact that those dynamics are real and still exist. Even if you're a male or a female leader, check your own biases about those dynamics. Have truth tellers that will help you in your leadership approach and style to make sure that you're advocating for, developing, and giving teammates, no matter how they identify, an opportunity to excel in their role of choice. And I think typically it is typical of women to say, I'm not qualified. I can only do 95% of what the job description says.
Yeah.
Whereas starting really early in Mrs. Frank's class, Billy was told, you can do anything. And so Billy got to the corporate America and said, hey, I can do about 50% of this. I'm good. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
Right. Those permissions, make sure that you're giving permissions and encouraging teammates, especially our women who may say, I'm not ready. I can only do 95, to say, you are ready and I am going to help you be successful. let's go. So those are a few ideas.
You were spot on with that. It's a fact. This is not made up numbers. It's actually 30%. If there's 10 requirements on a job, the man meets 30% of those, they'll apply for the job. Women, they need to match all 10 for them to
Yes.
apply. That's reality.
Yes.
And we need to understand that just the differences between how men and women think. And so that encouragement, that identifying and sometimes even pushing women to go after stuff is required. I had a conversation with my sister, a younger sister who is very, very successful in the finance world or financial world and was considering a new role. And she's like, I just, it's the same thing. I don't think I'm qualified for this role. Like, why aren't you? And it's like, you don't have to be a perfect fit. There's such a thing as learning on the job. And you've been doing that your whole career.
Yes, so true.
Yeah.
I remember I was 24 and it was a senior leader at the bank who said, we know you don't know anything about strategy creation, but you're smart enough for us to teach you.
Yeah.
And that sentence needs to be said over and over again.
Yes.
They took a bet on me and
Yeah.
he's like, she can learn how to do this. And she's high potential. She's an athlete. She doesn't know anything about strategy. And then I became the CSO of that organization, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later.
Yeah. No, that's all it takes is that push, that tap on the shoulder to say, hey, we would like you to consider this because we think you do great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. What does it take in terms of when you're building a high performing team? What are the attributes you're looking for to identify that who needs to be on the team? And then also, how do you maintain the culture of the team once you have them in place?
We had a big culture discussion today. I do a skip level coffee talk, and one of our teammates was sharing appropriately that through the years that she'd been at the company, the culture was sometimes it was great to work there, and sometimes it didn't feel very good to work there. And so what does culture mean? And whose job is it? It is everyone's. It is my job as the leader to set the tone, to create environments that encourage teamwork and helpfulness, that create an accountability culture so that we want to achieve our best and everyone is pulling their weight. And it's the responsibility of each of our teammates as well to make the company what they want it to be, not, well, Joy changed the incentive program, so it's terrible here. Well, I may have made a mistake or I may not have rolled it out correctly, and I would claim that. But it is all of our responsibility to create an environment where people feel seen and heard and feel like their contribution matters.
Yeah.
And that was your second question. Your first was, what do you really look for?
Yeah.
I do look for the athlete, meaning the raw goods, the discipline, the performance mindset, the critical thinking ability, the team orientation, the drive. We don't all have to be Energizer Bunny. We don't all have to show up in the same ways, but we have to share a common performance drive in a sales organization, I think, to be successful.
Yeah. Do you like to have a mix of personality types?
If we had all of mini me's, we would blow up. So absolutely. I have a fantastic leadership team now that I actually inherited, which is rare. A lot of times it's, whoa, coming in, I need to make a lot of changes. Our talent is our secret weapon and amazing. In my former company, over time, I did curate a leadership team, and they brought a diversity of thinking and styles and backgrounds and experiences to the table, which made us better.
What are you doing, or what are you looking for in your teams that you've had over the years to identify future sales leaders? What are the attributes or things you're looking for that says this is someone who should consider a transition into a leadership role?
That's a great question, honestly, because so many of us, and it's our culture that thinks, oh, I'm going to be an individual contributor, and that next step is manager, executive, and that is the ladder, and that is my track. When in fact, the individual contributor role for some is the ultimate. It meets their financial objectives better than a managerial position does. It gives them the latitude and flexibility that may be important in their personal life. It should not be an automatic, oh, I'm going to do this next and next. The best players are not often the best coaches. I remember years ago, I am not a football person, so if I mess this up, but in the NFL, the best kicking coach at the time was someone who was a wheelchair user. And so this individual was not a kicker because of his physical situation, but he was the best coach. And so my advice is don't automatically think that's your trajectory. You can keep learning, you can keep earning as an IC, in many cases better than taking the managerial track. Now, when is it for you? I would say if you like the diversity. So one of the things that gets me going is the diversity of the role, like working with ops and tech, and I'm working with the sales groups and the marketing function, and I'm solving different types of problems. And we solve different problems when we're individual contributors with our customers, but it is, I think, a narrower motion than a broad motion. So I really like a broad canvas. If I have an aptitude for teaching, coaching, training, leading, being a servant to others, you're not cock of the walk when you're the sales leader, right? You all of a sudden become the helper, the trainer, the enabler, the coach. That's not for everyone. And again, I would be more intentional because you have to, at the end of the day, say, am I someone worth following? Am I willing to steward my role as leader well? Because it is a gift. And if you aren't interested or willing to steward it, it's not for you.
Yeah. Going back to football, you made me think in an interview, Tony Dungy was asked, would Peyton Manning make a great coach? And he said, absolutely not. He'd be horrible.
Yes.
And he's like, absolutely horrible. He would, everyone would hate his guts. They're like, why? It's like, because he knows so much. He's like, yeah, but he is super critical. He is such a perfectionist, and just he would drive everyone crazy. It's having that ability to relate. And you're saying to be the coach, the trainer, the psychologist, all those things you have to do. It's not just about seeking perfection. It's like, how do I help this person identify their path to their best?
Yes.
That they can do.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah. Shifting gears, Joy, CRM, do you love it or do you hate it?
Yes. So a CRM system really is the system of record, the foundation, the lifeblood of a revenue organization. And the mistakes that I've made in the past and see so many companies make is that we don't spend enough time understanding the WIFM, what's in it for them. We don't think about the value prop for our users. We think about our needs. I need some dashboards. I need a clean pipe. I need stuff that I can forecast from. So fix it, get it right, do all this administrative, right? As opposed to helping them use their CRM as the enabling platform of their life, of their professional life. And so at my company now, I have a little bit of a hot mess that has just messy buildup. One opportunity record has 300 fields.
Oh my God. You've tied my record for the craziest number of fields on an opportunity that I've seen with a client.
Right. So no wonder the seller hates the CRM system. It's not built for them.
No.
So I'm in the process of re-engineering my CRM instance to build it for them. If I build it for them, I will get what I need.
Exactly. You use my favorite word when it comes to CRM, enabling. That's why we have CRM. It's meant to enable the people using
Yeah,
CRM. Sometimes you can use it as a stick or like, hey, I want to see what's going on. Great. But at its core, it better be enabling the sales team and anyone else who's using it. Otherwise, like they're not going to use it. You're gonna have to really force them to use it rather than, hey, I want to use it because it's helping me better in my job. It's helping me meet my goals. I can't do it without it because it's so good at helping me.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just skip that step,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We forget what is the value prop for Dave to really use this thing.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
I'm
call it the
working
why
on it.
statement. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you better have a powerful why statement as to this is why we need you to use it because it's going to enable you here, here, and here. It's going to help you identify or feed potential opportunities to you, whatever that might be. You have to make it about how it's going to help them,
Yeah.
not like, well, we
I'm in,
need.
yeah, I'm in big trouble when their spreadsheet or their
Oh, yeah.
notepad or their
Yeah.
Rolodex does a
Yeah.
better job at managing their business
Yeah.
than my CRM instance.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
had a CRO. I was at a conference talking to a sales leader and asked him, how's your pipeline management going? How's your forecasting going? He pulled out his phone. He's going, you want to see my pipeline? He pulled up an Excel spreadsheet on his phone. There's my pipeline. It's like our
Yep.
CRM sucks. I can't use it. And
Yep.
this is a very, very large company. And that's what this poor guy's left to deal with. But it really shouldn't be that way. I still don't understand why so many companies struggle with this.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah. Joy, we're at our time here in Sales Lead Dog. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the show. If people want to reach out, connect with you, if they want to learn more about Source Advisors, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yes. Refer to us at sourceadvisors.com or look me up personally on LinkedIn, Joy Wilder Lybeer.
Excellent. And if you didn't catch that, don't worry. We have it in our show notes. You can get that at impellercrm.com/sales lead dog. We get not only this episode, but our pushing almost 200 episodes of Sales Lead Dog now. Be sure to check that out. Be sure to subscribe so you get all our future episodes. We greatly appreciate that. Joy, thank you so much for coming on Sales Lead Dog and welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Pack.
Outstanding. It's been my pleasure and it's my passion. Hopefully that came through. So thanks for having me.
As we end this discussion on Sales Lead Dog, be sure to subscribe to catch all our episodes. On social media, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Watch the videos on YouTube, and you can also find our episodes on our website at impellercrm.com/Sales Lead Dog. Sales Lead Dog is supported by Impeller CRM, delivering objectively better CRM for business, guaranteed.